It's the Joe Padula Show, Clarksville's conversation.
Absolutely. I think we gave enough filler time for people to hop in and join us as we have our discussion with Montgomery County Mayor Jim Durrett for it's almost a year when dealing and handling the COVID-19 pandemic. And I just want to talk to a man who was in a leadership position throughout the entire time, handling situations, dealing with lockdowns and reopening, and also mandates, and also getting sick himself, how that played a role, how he recovered, how it affected him overall. So, Montgomery County Mayor Jim Durrett, thank you for hanging out with us.
You're welcome, Joe. Good to see you again, man.
I can't believe a year.
I can't either.
A year. I mean, this live broadcast currently, early February of 2021. Go back a year, February. It's a tough one to say. There's a second R in there. Nobody pronounces it. February.
I won't even try.
Early February 2020. What was on the radar, Montgomery County-wise, when it comes to COVID?
Well, I think COVID was there, but I don't think it was that big of a signal to us right yet.
No.
Even though, I'm not sure when some of the when Trump started banning some flights and that kind of stuff. That's probably sometime in February, maybe even late January that happened.
February 2nd, I believe. Late January is when the China travel ban went into effect, right?
Yeah. And so, obviously it was on our radar. We had been doing some planning as far as PPE gear, that type stuff, or, especially for our first responders. But, probably mid-March is when it really ratcheted up, and here we are today.
Yeah, right before, I believe it was St. Patrick's Day last year of March 17th.
Yeah.
Is when all of a sudden people were like, oh, my God, it keeps popping up here in the States. We got case after case happening. Did you guys have some type of special meeting between any other government officials, whether it's a state or local level?
Yeah, I mean, we started having a lot of conversations about it, and when it first happened, I don't know if you recall it. I can recall it. That I can remember these numbers were they weren't skyrocketing, but they were going up quite a bit. And we were at 12, and then we were at 15, and then we'd go a couple of days and. And I was like, man, I just hope we don't get to 100.
Right.
And, it just kept on and kept on and kept on. And then, we were where we were averaging 5 cases a day and then 3 cases a day. And then the number kind of went up, and then we kind of saw it relax. And then once we got her after July 4th, it just really started going up, and that trajectory really hadn't stopped until probably about a week ago.
What into setting up the testing back then?
Well, Joe, that's something I don't think a lot of people in our community realize it, but our health department is a state-run health department. And so we really have no input.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But I will say this. They started testing down at the health department. It's county property down there, so we supported. We supported that effort with logistics, with traffic control, with sheriff deputies, and then we realized that it was really impeding some of our other operations at county government, and so we moved it to the other side of Veterans Plaza on the Crossing Avenue side. We had a covered area over there too, and still maintained the drive-through. But then our numbers started going up, and we just kept dealing with the traffic. So we knew we had to do something, and so we looked at a bunch of different sites, and we finally all came together. And when I say all, it's not only myself; it's City Mayor Joe Pitts. It's the police department, it's sheriff's department, it's fire department, it's EMA, it's EMS, it's the health department as well. And so we decided Civitan Park was the best place. We didn't really like the ingress and egress, the little road that you go through, Bellamy Lane. but we knew we could stack a lot of cars back there. We knew we could get some tents back there and get drive-through. And ultimately, Montgomery County's providing trailers for the workers to work out of. And I think we'll be moving it again. We saw a week ago, last Monday, when thunderstorms came through, we had to shut it down for 2 hours. I mean, we can't let our workers out there and in that kind of weather. And so we shut it down for 2 hours. It created a pretty big backlog, and but they worked through it out there. And but we've got another site that we're working on. Hopefully, we'll sign a lease agreement on it by the end of the week, and probably next week relocate. It's going to be bigger and better. It'll be where a car can pull inside. Our workers will be inside, and then the car can go out the other side.
Too easy, right?
Yeah.
Too easy.
But Joe, along with that, I think that's not going to be enough.
Okay.
Based on the supply of vaccine that we're getting right now.
Yeah.
This one site, we can run enough people through that one site in a day's time. But when the vaccine becomes more plentiful or the supply chain increases, we're going to have multiple sites. And so we're working on that as well.
And what are you guys going to be doing? Checking for, is it going to be age-based, first come, first serve?
Right now it's still it's still some healthcare workers. It's still some first responders. The teachers are in the mix now. And then the age category just changed. Anybody 75 and older, but that changed the first of this week, and now it's 70 or older. And so, they've got the state's got an online appointment system, and there's some issues with that.
TN.gov, yeah.
Yeah, but, we're going to work through it. But hopefully we get to the point where we've just got this vaccination where I don't know. I don't want to just say it's going to be just like an oil change place. You just drive up and get a shot and go on.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Do you stick your arm out the window?
No, they actually they get you to roll your sleeve up and they reach in the window and give you the shot.
Wow, right then and there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was out there a couple of Saturdays ago and helped them for 3 or 4 hours. I was the traffic control guy.
Were you really?
Yeah, I mean, I was like.
Did you have the vest?
No,
okay.
I guess I had the look.
You had the look.
Yeah. And so, but those people out there, they do a great job.
You got sick with COVID-19.
I did.
When did it first go down?
It's right around the 1st of October, first week or so of October. I woke up. I woke up one Saturday morning, and I'd been tested the following Monday because we had somebody in our office that was positive. That was asymptomatic.
And which test did you get? Did you get the up the nose?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Oh yeah, wasn't fun.
Right.
And so I woke up and I was a little bit sore, but I had done some work back behind my house, and I'd run a chainsaw and I'd picked up some pretty good sticks of wood. A lot of bending over. My back was sore.
Your back was sore.
My back was sore, and I told my wife, I said, I'm a little sore. I might ought to go get tested. This was on a Saturday. And she was like, well, you remember you cut that wood and did that? And I said, yeah, that's probably it. And really, I started feeling better. And so Sunday morning, I get a call from the lady that works with me. And she says, I lost my sense of taste and smell. And I told Mary, I said, I'm going to go get checked.
Right.
Boom, positive.
Yeah. Did you lose taste and smell?
I never did.
Really?
I never did. My wife did.
Right.
She lost it for about 2 weeks.
Well, that's unfortunate because she always smells very good.
Thank you. Well, we were very blessed. I think you would say that our symptoms were moderate. I had one day I had a fever of about 99.5. My wife's got up to 101. She had that fever for a couple of days. Obviously, as we talked about, she lost her sense of taste and smell. I never did. Had some body aches. I never had a bad cough. She did have a bad cough. But, Joe, I can't tell you the people that I know that have had it. And it's gone from basically asymptomatic to death.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
how
it really
diverse people's reactions are to something.
It really is.
Like what creates that? I have no idea. I'm not a doctor or anything.
I don't know. I've heard blood types.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's O positive or whatever it is, that it doesn't affect those people. To be honest, I don't even know what my blood type is. I used to give blood. I don't anymore. But yeah, excuse me. I don't know, man. It's really, really strange.
And it's interesting. I've been very lucky, very fortunate. Of course, I do what I got to do, and I maintain safety the whole bit as much as I can. I wash my hands, right? But maybe a bunch of the shots that the Army gave me, I have no idea. But they gave me this one. They put anthrax in our bodies.
That's what I heard.
We got an anthrax shot, for crying out loud. So it's very interesting what's going on. And then you got better. You're back to work. Okay, now what about what went into putting together mandates and policies? I know the face mask mandate has been, I don't want to say controversial, but it's definitely brought up difference of opinions on
Oh, yeah,
people.
without a doubt.
So how did that go into effect?
Well, I guess I'll go back to when we kind of had the stay-at-home order.
Oh, yeah.
And that was probably the most difficult decision that I've had to make since I was mayor.
And when did that go into effect, the stay-at-home order?
That, Joe, if I'm not mistaken, that was early April.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe early, mid-April.
I remember the April Fool's memes. Right.
Yeah, and actually, it was probably a little bit beyond April because, and I'll tell you what went into that. It's the same group of people that I mentioned earlier: the city mayor and Wes Golden, who is his risk manager, and Wes has done a fabulous job as just working with. It's two governments, and it's a police chief and a sheriff, and it's a fire chief and it's EMA, emergency management, but everybody has worked together so dadgum good, man. But when we decided to do the stay-at-home order, everybody got in a room, and we had both the city attorney and the county attorney in there, and Mayor Pitts and I were lockstep in every decision. It had been pretty weird if the city would have had a stay-at-home order and the county had not, or vice versa.
Now, how did it work with the stay-at-home order?
Well, we just, based on the data that we were getting and what was happening, we just felt like that was the best thing to do to try to stop the spread of this virus.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, if you look back, maybe wasn't the right thing to do, but we did it, and I think ours was in effect for 2 days, and then the governor issued his.
Right.
And so we actually started working on a reopening plan. I'm going to say about the 15th of May.
That's that early.
Yeah, and this group, we met every day for a couple of hours. We met on a Saturday, we met on a Sunday, and we were going to announce our reopening plan, and then the governor comes out. We had met on a Sunday, and the governor comes out on Monday and announces that all the restaurants, all these places are going to start opening, and he circumvented any emergency powers that he'd given us. And so we didn't wash our hands of it, but we said, it's no sense in us continuing forward. I thought we had a great plan. I really do.
I've seen how other states responded.
Yeah, and Joe, I'll be honest with you. We were going to open up more than what the governor opened up.
Right.
It took a while for beauty salons, barbershops, those type people to open up. We got on the phone and we're calling people that own beauty shops and barbershops and said, hey, if we do this and allow you to open, but here's what you got to do to open, are you cool with that? And they were like, please.
Right.
But then the governor's order just it zapped all that.
Like look at states at New York, Jersey, California, okay, and the restrictions that government put on. I went home to Jersey for Thanksgiving, and I never seen so many strong people just so depressed,
right?
So unhappy,
yeah,
and it didn't better their numbers. I mean, the arguments can be made all the time, but I look at the numbers of Montgomery County, and compared to the other major cities of this state in Tennessee, Montgomery County did an amazing job with keeping low numbers.
Well, I really think we have too, Joe, and I think that a lot of that's attributed to our people. We just have a very resilient population. We have a very diverse population, and we have a young population, and I think that helps us.
Yes.
But the mask mandate, I get.
How much crap have you got?
Oh, every time we renew it, it's.
Did you get hate mail?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, and hate phone calls and.
Oh, phone calls even.
Oh yeah, and so
How do you respond to those?
I just tell them I think it's the right thing to do,
Uh-huh.
and I try to tell them that for everything you tell me the reason we can't, I can tell you a reason why. So why are we going to argue about it? And most of it is related to you're taking some of my freedoms away from me.
Right.
That's where most of it comes from, and it's not a health issue. And I don't want to say this because it sounds bad, but to me, it's not a lot to ask to protect somebody else.
Okay. Understood that.
And so don't let it be about yourself.
Yeah.
Let it be about somebody else.
And I'll tell you, me personally, I'm not much of a mask guy, but I understand people's fears, and I understand why they have those fears, no doubt about it. And then I look at the numbers. Like, take Montgomery County, lowballing at 220,000. Isn't that crazy? 220,000 people, according to Google. That's crazy. And I think the number's going to be even bigger in the next census.
I do too.
But, and then you take, like, today's active count where it's at 1,068 for active COVID. And that, in comparison, I mean, you're looking at 99.5% of this population is COVID-free. That's an outstanding number.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, we should be very proud of that.
We should be. And, Joe, I think that number's a little bit it's a little bit jacked up.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that have had it
Right.
that never went and got tested.
Right.
They just maybe stayed at home and went through it.
Or asymptomatic.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's I probably shouldn't go down this road, but I'm sitting here thinking, so we've had over 6,000 people get inoculated
Right.
with their first vaccine.
Yeah.
And we've had X amount of people that have had it. And so the number of vaccinated and have had it, they're starting to go like this. And so at some point in time, we ought to be getting closer and closer to herd immunity.
Yeah, well,
based on the people that have had it and the people that can't get it.
I am so pro herd immunity.
Me too.
And the fact that I was reading the headlines, and it read that Montgomery County, this was a couple weeks ago now, or maybe a week and a half ago now, that Montgomery County was not failing, but not doing well when it came to vaccination percentages. What was that about?
The problem with that is all that's controlled by the state and the federal government. Mm-hmm. And so the allocations are distributed to distressed counties quicker than they come to healthy counties. And so Montgomery County overall is a healthy county from a physical standpoint.
Absolutely.
Not financial, from a physical.
Right.
But these distressed counties, they're the ones that get more of the vaccine first. And so ultimately what you're going to see is in these different phases, you're going to see some of these distressed counties that are out there at the last phase giving people vaccines, and we'll be like at the third.
Right.
I understand that, but I don't understand that because the population density there is smaller. But maybe it's the Dave Ramsey deal. Have you ever seen Dave Ramsey's Financial University?
I've heard
and
it.
How to pay off your credit card.
Right.
Well, you start with a little one and you pay it off.
Right.
And then you take that money and you move it to the next one that you've been paying a little bit on. And you pay it off. And so before long, you got this big ball of cash that you're throwing at your big credit card, and boom, it's paid off. So my wife and I did that.
But that wasn't the way that the state implemented it.
No.
Have you had a chance to actually speak and talk with Governor Bill Lee?
I have. I've talked to the governor a couple of different times, just one-on-one. I've talked to the governor. We typically, about every 10 days, we have a video call with him where he's talking to all the mayors of the state. And
what does he say about Montgomery County and Clarksville?
I think he's very proud of us.
Yeah.
I think he's very proud of us, not only of if you let's just pretend there wasn't any COVID. One no.
Right.
One no COVID.
Yeah.
COVID. That's the country coming out in me. I'm trying to be really a mayor and not some country hick.
No, I hear you. Wasn't no COVID.
Wasn't no COVID.
That's another one I learned. I like it. I'm going to add that to my Southern dictionary.
I'm sure you will, and I'm sure I'll hear it from you.
Hey,
as well.
Mayor Durrett, we're no COVID.
But we're a growing community. Our state's growing, but Clarksville's right there at the tip.
Booming.
Yeah.
Just
And
ask any realtor.
Oh my gosh, it's
The 14,000 realtors that we have.
unbelievable that we have the lack of inventory that we have today. And I heard somebody say something the other day about apartments for rent, that the percentage of apartments is so small.
That is available?
Yeah, and that's troubling. But then you go to a city council meeting or you go to a commission meeting and somebody's wanting to rezone a piece of property to put more houses on it, and the neighbors are in an uproar. But it is a known fact that we need more residential housing in this community.
And also, and I guess, we'll talk a bit about the schools, too, the closing and reopenings and what happened with what went on with those decisions. The schools, virtual learning, another controversial topic that you guys had to handle and deal with. What went into the decision-making of closing and then opening the schools?
Well, our school system's run by the director of schools and the school board, and so technically we don't have any input into that decision-making process. I will say that Mr. House was in constant communication with myself and Mayor Pitts. If you really look at Montgomery County, I think they did a pretty dadgum good job of keeping, once they got kids back in school, of keeping them in school. The surge at Thanksgiving and Christmas was a big factor, but that factor that really caused, in my opinion, for them to close like they did was they didn't have teachers. So the teachers were testing positive, and typically you have this substitute teacher pool of over 300 substitute teachers.
Right.
That pool shrank to about 100.
Interesting.
And so you couldn't get anybody to be in the classroom.
Huh.
And so they took a pause, and then they got the elementary kids back in right after the Christmas break. And praise God, our high schoolers are going back, I think, on February the 8th. And
could you imagine doing this virtual school back in the day?
Joe, you speaking of that, almost every meeting we do is virtual. I wasn't a great student in school. Be the first one to admit. My attention span can sometimes get away from me.
Yeah.
And when you're sitting there staring at a screen, and you do it for a couple of hours, I mean, your phone buzzes.
I couldn't do it.
Next thing you know, you're looking over here, and then you figure out, well, they got a camera on me. So,
yep. Yeah. So let me set up my phone right here.
Joe? Am I looking at the camera?
Sir, you got to lower your phone a little bit. Okay. We see it a little bit more. Okay, now you're good. Right.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And it's tough. And so
it's affected these grades too. If you look at them across the board.
Imagine a third grade or a fourth grade or a first grade kid that's having to do that.
And the lack of social skills that they're learning at this. Yeah. So personally, and I know people disagree with it, but personally, it's good to see students going back and interacting and doing it in a way that because I mean, if you look at it, when it comes to COVID, the young, very, very strong numbers on this. I mean, not even just a getting it rate, but survival rate. They're strong. They're young. You know, those who are immune compromised, of course, use caution and be careful. So I guess that it is good that there is that virtual availability as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and that I think that's been there before, and I think it'll continue to be there. I was surprised by the numbers when they gave them the option of what actually came back to school. I think it's about 60%, about 40% decided to go virtual. I thought it would have been higher than that, but when you take the middle schoolers and the high schoolers, you've been there. if we weren't in school, what were you doing? You're hanging out with your friends, and that's all they did the whole time they weren't in school.
Right.
So it wasn't like they weren't around people. I mean, they were hanging out. I've got 2 grandkids that age, and I'd call them. What I bet you're bored. No, me and Billy Bob and Joe and so, we went fishing and we did this and did that. And I went over to Stephanie's house and we had 4 people over there and we spent the night for 2 nights and just hung out in our pajamas. Yeah. So. And
then on top of it, you take like the working parents, okay, when children are at home and now they got to play babysitter as well as moderator, I guess, and some of them no longer can go to work, or even their jobs were closed down. And it was very good to see that Montgomery County, just on my end, was very allowing the people to make decisions for themselves with the proper guidance of government.
Well, thank you.
And I think that the people that make the comments out there that, oh, how come nobody's getting arrested for not wearing a face mask? I was so glad to not see one of these viral videos, if you will, of like even in Nashville, of cops tackling people, following a face mask altercation. I mean, Montgomery County, from top to bottom, when it comes to elected officials, when it comes to law enforcement, who have raised that right hand on the Constitution to defend the Constitution, man, I think you guys did a really good job.
Joe, it was we. And I'll give you a little example. When we talked about these mask mandates and having a sign on your door and those things if you're open to the public, the first thing Mayor Pitts and I did before it ever went public, we sat down with the police department and sheriff's department, and it was emotional to me. Because here I am, I'm going to mandate something, but I'm telling you that you got to enforce it.
Right.
And I feel like I'm putting you out in a position that you're going to enforce the law. I know you are, but this is something different than a speed trap or speeding or shoplifting. This is about somebody doing this.
Yeah, right.
And so we're going to ask you to enforce it. And they did such a great job. They
very good with balancing it all.
Joe, without a doubt, that's an understatement. I mean, they put together, this is going to be our operating procedures. This is how we're going to handle if it rises to this level, this level. And they did an outstanding job.
They did. I mean, I talked to my cop buddies, and they were like, you know what? It is what it is, and we're going to ensure that the people are still safe without overextending. I mean, they don't want to be. Cops don't want to be jerks. You know what?
No, they don't.
And I saw that initially when it all first started hitting off, and the lockdowns went into effect, and there was a certain amount of people that could be in a certain place, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. And I remember seeing the influx of law enforcement downtown Clarksville, and then people on Facebook and social media, typing away, oh, you see the Gestapo cops are all down. No, the schools are closed. Those are all the SROs.
Yeah.
For crying out loud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you go and talk to the cops. You're having a coffee with the cops. You guys did a really good job.
Thank you.
And believe you me, I have my opinions on how I'm going to live my life, and not once was it physically impeded upon.
I'm glad to hear that.
I was still able to go and do my events, and people were able to go to these events, do their safety issues, the whole bit, and still live life. Businesses were still able to make money.
Yeah.
Where we were watching these other cities across the state crying for help.
Yeah.
Back in Jersey, right? 1/3, 33% of locally owned businesses in Jersey closed for good.
That's sad.
That's the local mom and pop business owners.
Sad.
And I think, I don't have the exact numbers. We were affected here in Montgomery County, but it is not 33% of locally owned businesses are closed here.
No.
And that's a testament to you guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. And you guys out there, too, for hey, being open and being honest and making those phone calls to the mayor saying, hey, he took our gerbs or whatever. What's the worst one you got? What's the worst? You don't have to give name or anything. What's the worst phone call or email? Maybe they're calling your names. What do you think it was? What stood out for you?
Oh, Joe, I don't know. I've had a couple that just think that it's government overreach to the fullest extent, and that, the next thing we're going to do is make you wear 2 masks. Mm-hmm. The next thing we're going to do is lock it down again. And just, you just try to be reasonable with those people and try to give them your point of view. And there's just some people that doesn't matter what you say, you're not going to change their opinion. And I try to call most of them back. There's some that call every time the new mask mandate goes in.
Right.
And,
like this latest one goes through February.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I don't think they don't read the whole thing. That's the problem. You know what I mean? You guys leave it up to the businesses to enforce policies. When you go, and then when it comes to county buildings and city buildings, here's the rules, the whole bit.
Yeah.
Businesses put this up, all right? And then, I mean, you really, I don't think they read what the hell is in these things anyway.
I don't think they do either.
They read a headline.
Yep.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
Read the whole thing, people. You'll be very surprised on what information is put out there.
Yeah.
Well, Mayor Durrett, we ran a little bit longer than I thought. I do apologize, and I appreciate your patience. But I did want to hit up on at least the event center.
It's rocking and rolling.
It's going to happen still?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Joe, surely you're seeing that big hole they're digging.
Yes. Huge hole, downtown Clarksville. You're talking about a block radius, square block, event center. Do we have any sponsors yet? What are we going to call it?
No, we're that's a little bit premature.
Okay.
But we've got Austin Peay's locked in. We've got Powers Management, who is the Predators, locked in.
Nashville Preds, right?
As the entity that's going to manage it. They have actually reached out to some people about possibly naming rights to see if there's interest, to let them know that, hey, at a certain point in time, we're going to put a packet together and we'll be reaching out to you.
As long as it's not like Charmin's toilet paper. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think it'll be that.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah.
Right. Or Huggies.
What would you like it to be?
Personally, I would love to see a business get involved that would not only be a part of our community, take,
The Padula Palace.
No, I can't afford that sponsorship. But but maybe something, the Google Arena or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be great, and we're going to. What future events are planned to be held there? What's in the future?
Joe, it's everything. And I was speaking to a group of youth leadership today, and was telling them about it. And the multi-purpose event center is exactly what it is. I mean, Austin Peay basketball, Austin Peay women's and men's basketball, ice skating, Disney on Ice. Before the pandemic hit, we had 2 different leagues reach out to us about potentially a semi-pro or like a AA hockey team coming here.
I would love it.
The COVID shut that down. But monster truck pulls, rodeos,
yes,
flat floor shows,
concerts,
right, boat shows, all of those things.
To include a hotel next door, right?
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
And parking, right?
Yep.
And parking.
Yeah, and we just last week they announced right across College Street on 2nd Street, there's going to be a new restaurant built there. It's 3-story restaurant.
Oh my God, Mr. Maynard!
3 different levels of different kind of food and cuisine.
Yeah,
and then the top's going to have a rooftop bar. Man, you're going to go up there and be able to look out over the Cumberland, and man, it's going to be so cool.
This is going to solve all issues with city parking funding being so low. So many tickets are going to be written out there. They're going to be.
And there's going to be parking provided too. But if you go somewhere to be entertained, you go to Nashville.
I know.
Dadgum, man, if you go to a Predators game, it costs you $25-$30 to park. So what'd be wrong with paying $5 to park
Exactly. And the naysayers out there, the negative Nancys or negative Neds, whatever you want to call yourselves, this is part of growth.
Yep.
It's a part of growth. And we got enough land to do it anyway.
Yep.
Enough land. Montgomery County's huge.
Yep, 544 square miles.
Damn.
That was a trivia question today.
You
leadership. Yeah.
Yeah, you do trivia?
Yeah.
Here, let me
not as good as Joe.
Here, let me as we end out here. Let's try your test.
I should have never said the word trivia.
I got it all already right here.
Here we go.
Where is it? Where's my trivia for tonight? Because every week we host game shows. Oh, where are you? Sir, you might have lucked out. It might have closed on me. Yes, it did.
Okay, good. Good. I would probably missed it.
Montgomery County Mayor Jim Durrett, thank you so much for joining us today.
Joe, it's always a pleasure to come and sit and talk with you and chat. It's fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's given the public some information. And as always, I just want to thank you for your service to our nation. You're a hero in my book, man.
It was an honor to serve not only my nation, but her people, too.
Amen. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Mayor Jim Durrett, Montgomery County, hanging out with us and, answering some questions about the year of COVID. Man, I can't believe it's been a year. But, hey, we got regular programming coming up next, the Joe Padula Show, where America goes to party with a purpose. Absolutely.
It's the Joe Padula Show. Bada bing. Clarksville's conversation.